Live from their sofas comes the most beguiling. Alright, let's rock. Hello everybody. Oh, am I hosting, by the way? I just guess I am.
Yeah.
What an intro.
Yeah. Can go at the end. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 46 of the Out of Nowhere podcast. I am your host once again, Michael Allen, and joining me today is the almost ever-present Chelsea Edgerton. who is no longer present.
Hey! That's my constant new intro now. It's never going to change.
Alright, well you'll have to clean this up and edit then and put the actual track in, but you can do that. Joining us also is Stephen Allen.
Hello. No ringtone.
What? No entrance theme?
No.
No? You got nothing to go?
I didn't know we had to have one.
But if you had to choose one, now you're thinking, now you've got the chance to think.
I told you, I believe in miracles.
Well, that is
Every time.
that is a perfect choice. I mean, it's a shame that we can never get back that wrestler, because he was the best wrestler you've ever made on a wrestling game.
Thank you.
And joining us as well, after he's been gone for so long, is Russ. You right, Russ?
Yeah, I'm good. As it was pointed out before the show, it's been exactly 30 days, which makes it look like I've been on a night out with Del Rio and Paige, but I haven't been smashing the recreationals. I've just been writing things instead. So yeah, glad to be back.
Well, thanks for the disclaimer, but we don't believe you. You have been found more than one occasion smashed on the floor.
Were you the reason that Paige and Del Rio have been off with drugs because you decided to knock them both out?
No,
Del Rio for one reason, Paige for another.
Well, we don't want to get into the Russ is a woman beater.
No. Like I said, I didn't knock Paige out. I knocked one out over Paige. Different thing, but that's not why she's gone for 30 days. She was fine about it. It's okay.
I would have thought it would have been Eva Marie for you.
She's recently been suspended. She didn't take it quite so well.
Yeah, so it has been a busy week for the suspension team over at WWE, as Del Rio, Paige, and Eva Marie just today have all been suspended for 30 days. So it's a loose time over in WWE in the night scene, apparently.
Let's a birthday party or something. Sorry to interrupt.
It was Paige's birthday. It was Paige's birthday.
Right, they've all got absolutely coked up then, haven't they?
Chelsea thinks that Del Rio and Paige just wanted to go off on a holiday, so they got banned for 30 days each and gone off on one.
They decided they wanted to go to Disneyland again. They're like, I know what we'll do. We'll take some coke, be on our way.
Why is coke the go-to? They can just do weed and get it. It's fine. Don't go to the class A stuff.
That's only for pussies like Roman Reigns.
Right, okay, Chelsea. And how much coke have you taken in your time?
All of it.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, let's move on with the show. This has been a rather random opening. And today we're gonna just give our predictions of what's going to happen at SummerSlam, which is a 4-hour bonanza with a 2-hour pre-show, which we all simply cannot wait for that pre-show, right? But with 11 matches on the card, it would be a surprise if we didn't have at least 2 matches on the pre-show, since it is a 2-hour bonanza. Let's go and take these matches one by one, and we can discuss what happened on Raw or SmackDown if we really need to. Let's stick with the 6-woman tag team match that was scheduled to happen. Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya, Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss. Obviously, we've got a bit of a problem there with Eva Marie being banned today. But Stephen, who do you think is going to come out on this one, and who do you think is going to replace Eva Marie? Or the third option, does this match just get completely wiped out because it was just set up for Eva Marie?
No, I don't think it'll get completely wiped out. The reason being that if anybody caught the talking smack after SmackDown on Tuesday, the Becky Lynch and Naomi and Natalya came out and they were having a conversation with Daniel Bryan. And I don't know if I said it on the podcast last week, but I retract the statement if I did, that I didn't like that talking smack because it's actually quite good. It's Daniel Bryan was asking them, and it seemed like a very like it didn't seem like it was like a stage thing. It seemed like a very genuine. He was asking the girls what they thought of the women's division on SmackDown and what it needed, and Becky Lynch was very adamant that it needed a title for them to chase, and it certainly sounded like they were going to give the push. So I'd be very surprised if it was completely removed. But I'm not entirely sure who would replace Eva Maria at this time. But I would expect Becky to win. She must be the golden girl for going forward with If SmackDown are to get a woman's title, which I presume there will be at some point, it's got to go to her, surely.
I mean, I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Her being the number one pick, number one woman picked for SmackDown. You'd be very surprised if it weren't. Russ, have you got any different take on this match? And do you have an idea who could be Eva Marie's replacement?
Well, they've had from what I remember, a couple of women up from NXT sort of having jobber-esque debuts. So they could throw one of the women up from NXT potentially as sort of a one-off, but maybe a pre-show for a pay-per-view is a bit too much of a big stage to be doing that. It's a bit of a weird one. It kind of throws a big spanner in the works when one out of your six-woman tag team match gets suspended. So I'd have thought Eva Marie would have had a big part to play in this as well, to develop the story that's developing with Becky Lynch and her avoiding her and all that. I honestly have no idea who could replace her. My only thing that I can think of is they bring up someone from NXT to potentially do it. Because they're also going to need to fill a hole in the roster, because Eva Marie's featured quite heavily, although not in the ring. She's been quite a heavy presence. They kind of need to fill that gap as well, so maybe they bring someone up early as a result.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because currently in this match are all of the women in the women's division.
Yeah, there is no more, is there?
I don't think so. I mean, I could be missing one, but who have we got? We've got Becky Lynch is definitely in there. Natalya, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Eva Marie, Carmella. That's all of them, right?
Yeah.
That's all. That's everybody who was picked on draft night. So. Yeah, unless they borrow somebody from Raw, maybe they could just take a woman on Raw. I don't know. But I mean, Chelsea, any idea who or what they could do with this one? Because the more I think about it, they've got no one to do it. They're just going to have to just mix the whole thing.
I mean, unless they go with Eva Marie can't be here because
she's late.
Yeah, she's late. Her plane crashed. I don't know.
That would explain 30 days, I guess.
Yeah. Plane crash. Turn it into a handicap, maybe. I don't know.
It'd explain her never coming back as well if we win.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that they're just gonna do something storyline-wise with it, and Becky and Co pick up the win.
Well, they're going to say that Eva Marie's so desperate not to face Becky Lynch that she's just started taking mountains of cocaine.
Also true. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with everybody and say it is going to be the first team who are getting the win. I'd really like it if Lana went in the match, but that doesn't make any sense at all. So let's just move on. To another match that doesn't really make sense, and it's going to be the first in a best of 7 series which was announced this week on Raw, Cesaro versus Sheamus. We're going to get him in a NFL, in NBA style playoffs, best of 7 series. Chelsea, I know you're really looking forward to this whole 7 matches.
Yeah.
Because Sheamus is your boy and all that.
Yeah.
Who's going to win match 1? Is it going to go 7?
I'm going to go with Cesaro picking up the first win. Cesaro winning hopefully all 7. But
no, that's not how it works, Chelsea. He only needs to win 4.
How to bury a wrestler, Jesus.
No, to be fair, as much as I don't really like Sheamus, these two, when they're in the ring together, work really well. So as much as I don't want to see 7 matches, it's going to happen anyway. But Cesaro, I reckon, is going to pick up the first win.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it didn't go all 7, because why would you not? But I think they're gonna give Sheamus the rub for the first game, the first match. So I'm gonna go with a Sheamus win. But I truly don't understand why we're gonna have 7 matches for these guys. But props to Mick Foley. I know Stephen will agree with me, but in this segment specifically, but throughout the show, he's still just bossing the place. You know, he's taking his character and applying it to the GM role rather well.
I don't know whether it's just me. I mean, he's completely bowled me over with how he's performed as the general manager. There was no idea from my point of view, that he would be like how he has been. I think he's been an absolute breath of fresh air for it. To be honest, I've really enjoyed the segments, and like I say, like you've just said there, Mickey, he's owning the segments, and he's coming across brilliantly. I'm really surprised with it, because I really didn't think it worked, but I'm quite happy to eat my words on that.
I suppose he has had prior experience being the commish.
Yeah,
Commissioner
true.
Foley. But yeah, Steve, while you're at it, who's going to win the first of the 7?
Yeah, I think I'm probably along the same lines as you. I think the overall will go to Cesaro, but I do think they'll start with a Sheamus victory this weekend.
And Russ, who do you think is going to pick up the first match after?
Like you guys, I think it's going to be Sheamus first up. I think Sheamus might build a bit of a lead, and then they'll have Cesaro come back and win the series, which would be a pretty cool little storyline. But like Chelsea said, I mean, we've already seen these guys wrestle like 3 times in the last 2 weeks, like 7 matches. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, these 2 guys, they have good matches, but there's only so many times you can see it. And if it's just 7 straight singles matches, like you're not doing the 2 guys involved any favours by making them wrestle each other every week.
Well, no, I don't expect it would be 7 just straight singles matches. I imagine there'll be a cage match or something like that. But can any of you ever remember any other best of 7 matches? Like there's only series. Sorry, there's only 2 people who I remember doing it, and that's Chris Benoit and Booker T. They had one in WCW, and then they had one in WWE as well for the United States Championship. Both of them went 7, obviously. But they were pretty well received. I suppose people in the matches make the tournaments, I guess. Booker T versus Chris Benoit, or Sheamus versus Cesaro. Yeah. I won't ask Chelsea because she doesn't like Booker T. But I know which one I'd rather have.
I don't like that topic of conversation.
What, Booker T?
Yeah.
Everyone go watch Booker T's interview with JBL.
Because if you don't,
because it's
if you
awesome.
don't, you're not a wrestling fan.
Or a racist. Moving on. The next match on the card here is a title match for the Intercontinental title. We've got Apollo Crews going up against The Miz, who will be accompanied by Maurice. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when your segment on a show only happens in the advert, that speaks volumes. And the only time we saw Apollo Crews this week was on a recap coming back from break, saying this is what happened during the break, and he delivered his finisher to the Miz. Is anyone actually trying to get Apollo Crews over, or are they literally just trying to milk him just for the wrestling part?
I don't know. Go on, Chelsea.
No, I just say I don't know. I think it's kind of a waste. I think giving him the title opportunity because, well, I think he's going to lose and he's going to be nowhere to be seen again. It's just going to be an easy win for the Miz, I think.
I think they're gonna have it. I think they're gonna have Apollo Crews. I can really see them making this this go on maybe into the next pay-per-view afterwards. I can see Apollo Crews dominating this title match, but Miz getting the win through through interference or help from Maurice or some kind of shenanigans of some sort to get the victory and carry on the feud. But that's all they can hope for at this stage, because if they do just bury Apollo Crews again, I really don't see what they could do with him after this. If they are to just put him up straight, put him for a clean defeat over the Miz, where does he go? Because he's just not developed at all since he came up.
Likewise, I mean, he's still great in the ring.
But it doesn't help. True. It's the only character building they've done for him is like, I'm really happy to be here. I didn't win this time, but I got close. Yeah, that's his whole character. So.
But Sami Zayn started a bit like that, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but
I look at him now.
He doesn't have a match for SummerSlam either.
I was going to say, in one way, Apollo Crews is a one-up because he's actually on the fucking card, but.
That's a travesty, by the way.
It is a travesty. You're right. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd scrap that 6-woman tag match, not because it's the women, just because the match looks a bit crap, and have something involving Sami Zayn there instead.
Sami Zayn versus Becky Lynch would be a much better match than Apollo Crews versus.
Maybe he can. He's a redhead as well. Maybe he could just come in as Eva Marie.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. We found Eva Marie's replacement. It's going to be something.
I agree with Steve, though. I think with the way the Apollo Crews and the Miz match will go, Apollo Crews needs someone to help him along, I think, with a bit of a storyline, and the Miz is a pretty good antagonist to do that. Just depends whether Apollo Crews can play up his end of the feud if they do develop into one and actually make it interesting. So, as we say, there's nothing wrong with Apollo Crews in the ring. He's an absolutely ridiculously good athlete, but he's just absolutely mind-numbing off the outside of the ring, and it's not necessarily his fault, but he needs some help.
No, he does need work.
It completely shows, doesn't it, how much you need that second part. It's not just about what you can do in the ring, is it? Especially. I know that in some of the other, like New Japan and stuff like that, you can probably get by with your wrestling skills alone, but in the WWE, where it's sold as sports entertainment, and there's that many, the amount of segments we now have on the shows, there's more segments than there is matches at the moment. If you can't cut a promo, you're not gonna get that airtime, and I think that's the problem. They want to push him. And they want to, without being funny, he's got everything that Vince, ring-wise, and how he looks is everything that Vince wants, isn't it? So you can see that they're going to try this. You can see them trying to push him, but whilst he can't deliver anything in terms of a promo, he's not going to get a chance.
No, you're absolutely right. I just can't. I know it's a bit bad to do, but I just can't get how WWE treated Bobby Lashley.
No.
Out of my head when I look at him, because it's exactly the same. He's a big athletic guy, he's incredibly similar build and incredibly similar personality. Smiley, happy, just happy to be there. That's all I got from how WWE used Bobby Lashley, and that's what I'm getting here. So. I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to do something. because he has the talent, and talent alone should get you it. But hey, I guess maybe not. Who's going to win this match? Have any of you said so far? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Miz.
Miz.
Yeah,
Miz.
I think it'll be the Miz. It'll be, as Steve says, some shenanigans involved to maybe build into something. But yeah, Miz.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Miz as well. Have we all agreed so far?
Pretty much.
No, we disagree with
went-
Cesaro and Sheamus, so that's okay. At least we're not agreeing. Here's something for us to disagree about. We've got a tag team match coming up, which is happening because reasons, I think is the best way to say it. We have Enzo and Cass versus Chris Jericho. Again, we said this last week. This has just been put together because they need them in the match. They need them on the card at SummerSlam, it would seem. But with people like Sami Zayn now, you really question, did they really need to do this? But while we've got it, Russ, are you enjoying what you're seeing out of these two? I mean, I suppose these four, I guess all we've really seen at the minute is verbal jousting. But
It reminds me a bit of when they put Chris Jericho and AJ Styles in a tag team, and that developed into those two inevitably falling out and leading up to the WrestleMania match. And I think that might be what they do with Jericho and Owens here, where they have a bit of a spat and then they end up building a feud of their own. The mic work's been good. I mean, Jericho, Owens, and Enzo and Cass, they can all hold their own easily in the ring. So it's been entertaining, but like you say, there's no real reason for this match to be happening, which kind of takes some of the gloss off it. Really, it's a bit of a random one, and it shouldn't be the case either that like you say, might disagree on the result of this. It shouldn't be the case that one of your tag teams that's being pushed quite heavily at the minute can be getting beaten by two guys who've just randomly decided they're now working together.
But this is the thing, there's not even a reason for them to work together. It is literally random. Because he's Canadian? Is that about it? I think that's as much as we've got so far. And I'm going to put it out there, I don't know if any of you guys will agree with this. As much as it has been entertaining to see them do the mic work, it has no direction at all. Do any of you agree with that? I mean, it's completely haphazard. It is all over the place. And it is fun and it's funny, but I mean, what they're aiming to achieve, I don't know. It's like they're being given, instead of going out giving a mic and saying these are the things we want you to hit on, it's just go out there and say something and waste some time.
Yeah, I agree, and it's not that we need to be told that these four guys can work the mic anyway, because we knew that in the first place. Very
true. Chelsea, who do you think is going to take this one? I know you've got big favourites in this match. You really do love Enzo and Cass. So who's gonna win?
Well, out the two, like Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, their talent in the ring is far outweighs what Enzo and Cass can do. So I think it would be ridiculous for them not to win. But at the same time, they do seem to be giving like Enzo and Cass quite a big push. So I don't know which way it's going to go, but just for my own sanity, I'm going to go Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho.
When sanity needs to be used to pick a win.
Yeah.
Stephen, who do you think's going to take it?
Enzo and Cass, I think. Yeah, I think they're going to go with trying to keep the momentum with those guys, and I think Russ is spot on in that the plan in regards to Jericho and Owens is for them to feud, and I think this will be the start. This is going to be the start of it. I think that they're going to keep the momentum that Cass and Enzo have been building so far, and Jericho and Owens can sort of, in terms of this, in the bigger picture, can sort of afford to lose, and if they lose by their own mistake, there's a he knocks, Kevin Owens knocks Jericho off the side of the ring and gets pinned or something like that, and that's causes a feud somewhere that to start between them. I think they'll lose. Yeah, I think they'll lose by their own doing, but with Enzo and Cass picking up the victory. I've really enjoyed. I must admit, I've laughed more than I thought I would do in terms of the promos, but I do agree there is no direction to what they are. They've kind of gone out there and they're basically told they can say what they want, especially Enzo and Cass, because I don't even have a clue what they're talking about half the time now. Like,
Are you not down with the kids, Steve?
No, I think I'm alright. I think I'm pretty down with the kids. I just think they're. I just think it's now they've got to that point where Enzo's just saying whatever, can just say anything as long as he puts that silly Brooklyn accent on. and then they set everything up just for Cass to do the SAWFT chant, and it never goes. It always feels completely random.
Like it's just tacked on the end.
Yeah, like they've got to just put it on the end. But needless to say, I think they'll get the victory, but it will be Jericho and Owens will be that they will cause their own downfall in the match.
Whereas I thought that the Enzo Cass were shoo-ins to get the titles, much to my displeasure, as you all know, I don't think we're going there anymore. I think they've totally gone off that scene. So I actually think that Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens might win this one. Anyone else joining me on that bandwagon?
Yeah, me.
Can you think of any logical reason? Because I can't. I just think they might win.
No, I don't. Mine's purely going on that they're far better in the ring than Enzo and Cass are.
Yeah. Well, when a wrestling ability decides a wrestling match, let me know. Except for the Olympics, where I'm watching this American and Japanese women amateur wrestle. That probably goes on spill. How cool would that be if it just came out that all the Olympics were fixed and written by a writing department? That just blows everyone's mind.
Probably
Anyway,
surprised me at this point, to be fair.
Well, Stephen already thinks that it's got a Russian involved. Right, let's move on. Another tag match. I mentioned the tag team titles, so let's go to the New Day. Your record holding the tag team titles. There's Luke Gallows and Dr. Gallows and Dr. Anderson. My apologies. And we've got a match here that's has actually had some build up. And has some importance about it. I mean, as Big E on his Twitter said, this SummerSlam match is more than the titles. It's mostly about testicles. # worry about your own nuts. So it's mostly about testicles because this has just been filled with testicle jokes and it's been hilarious. Steve, you've been a big fan of the testy jokes. What do you think of this feud? Do you think Gallows and Anderson are actually going to win the title?
Yeah, I do. I think it's. I think we've got to the point now with the New Day where they don't necessarily need the titles anymore, and there's kind of just there doesn't really appear to be that much for them to do at the moment. I mean, they've gone through everybody, haven't they? And I think now that it would be a case of a storyline of them trying to get those titles back, losing them and doing that. I do think the club will win, and I think they've kind of just, they've given the New Day the record, and rightly so, of the record title run. I think for what they've done this last year, they definitely deserve that accolade, but I think it's the right time as well for them to drop the titles and go in see maybe a different side of them in how they react to having to get the titles back. They've also got they've also now I'm sure it's completely coincidental that now that if Big E's injured, which I'm presuming is he out from.
Yeah, he was actually injured.
Yeah, that kind of gives them a bit of an out now for losing them. Whereas before they would have lost with Big E, or I believe they would have lost anyway. Now they can kind of go that the kind of lost without Big E, and he can come back, and it'll allow for the story to continue between them. But I have found the Doctor segments brilliant, to be honest. I found them hilarious. But maybe that's me just being a child.
Everyone likes a dick joke, right? Chelsea, do you like a dick joke?
How can you not?
Right. Who do you think is going to take this one? Presuming from our internal fantasy draft that we've just done, and you've taken Gallows and Anderson, I'm assuming that you're thinking that the New Day are going to lose this one.
Yeah, I completely agree with Steve. Whereas, say, with Big E being out, it gives them a kind of an out, I think. And they've had the tag titles for nearly a year now. It's definitely come up to that point where, I mean, not so long ago they surpassed the longest reigning.
WWE. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think it's time for them to drop the belts now. And like Steve says, with Big E not being there, it definitely gives them a bit of a storyline when he comes back. So Big E can come back. He could even be a little bit pissed, really, and just be like, "Oh, look what happened while I wasn't here," sort of thing. But yeah, and just everything about this segment, Anderson and Gallows at the minute, has been absolutely hilarious. And I want those double points. So
more than anything.
Yeah.
Russ, what's your take on this match?
So is Big E legit injured, or is it all just a storyline thing? Because the alternative is, I do agree with you guys for the most part. I think it's the right time for the New Day to drop it, and the storyline to change to them chasing the titles again. But is it impossible for Big E to come back, influence the match, and cost Gallows and Anderson the win? That was the only other thing I could think of happening.
He is legitimately injured.
Right. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then that gives them an out. It gives them a reason why they would get beat, and it just makes sense all round. My only concern was, well, not really concern. My only other viewpoint was, if Big E's it's a kayfabe injury, he can do a run in or something, and cost Gallows and Anderson the win, and then the feud continues. But if he's legit injured, then yeah, definitely Gallows and Anderson taking it.
Yeah. I was being unclear whether or not Big E's injury was a legitimate injury, because I've not seen anything about it being a legitimate injury. But yeah, I'd like to think. I think that the New Day are going to drop it. I'd like to think though that if he came back, and someone said he could come back pissed off. It'd be funny if he came back pissed off with the New Day and try to make it as a singles wrestler again, because he's been dominating. He's been dominating it even in the tag matches. He's been the guy who has been holding the New Day's end of it. But yeah, I mean, he suffered a contusion to his groin area, but that's all I've ever read about it. I didn't know whether or not it was a legit injury or not. Chelsea seems to know more about it. Have you read that it is?
It was literally an article that I scrolled past maybe like a week ago, so I can't point you in any direction. But as far as I'm aware and what I've read, it is legitimate.
It's a real ball breaker for the New Day, isn't it?
Wah, wah, wah. I didn't even have to make that noise. We can do it on here, right? So yeah, we all think the club are winning.
Yeah, definitely.
And let's move on to the club's leader then, because as we know, the club has not disbanded; it has expanded. So AJ Styles is doing his favourite thing and beating up John Cena. Is he going to beat John Cena, Russ?
I fucking hope so. Not because I don't like John Cena, but AJ Styles hasn't actually won a feud yet since he joined the WWE, has he?
No. No, he lost to Jericho at WrestleMania.
Then he got done by Reigns in every single title match that he tried.
Yeah.
and he needs something, because it's getting to the point where it's like my favourite thing to do is beat up John Cena, but he looks pretty shit at it. And it's not AJ Styles' performances have been fine. I mean, he even got good matches out of Roman Reigns. Some of those were actually some really good matches, but he just needs some sort of result to make him look stronger than he does at the minute.
Yeah, but I'm really weird. Weird? Yeah, I am really weird. But I'm also really worried that John Cena's going to win this one and make a push to become the champ on SmackDown. I don't know why, but I just don't see them putting John Cena putting over AJ Styles. Now, it was interesting on Talking Smack this week, Steve. No, you watched it.
Yeah, I was just going to mention this. Yeah, go on.
That John Cena was asked, how do you think about people coming up and trying to take his spot, as AJ Styles is trying to take his spot. And John Cena said, I'm going to be straight with you, I'm waiting for it. He's waiting for people to take his spot.
I found, like, I don't whether this is me completely selling and they're doing a fantastic job of selling the actual thing, but I'm finding the Talking Smack to be quite a very genuine, like, reaction thing. The reactions of Daniel Bryan and what he's saying, and then, like, when the guests are coming on, they're talking like Becky was given free rein to say they need a belt, they need some direction. Likewise, Cena came on and said he when he was answering the question, he almost seemed exhausted, like physically and mentally tired from doing what he's having to do all the time. And
let's just reflect that he was in the main event and ran to the studio.
that is true, yeah. But I felt that he was being very genuine when he was saying, I'm waiting for somebody to take that mantle. He was kind of saying that the reason why I'm still here, the reason why I'm still at the top is because nobody does what I do, and I'm waiting. And I got the impression that he was very much would be perfectly happy with somebody else taking over that role, so he could step back a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, but I just can't see it happening yet. I mean, how old is John Cena now? Is he getting close to 40? Is he already? Is he 39?
I thought it was 40 already.
No, he can't be, can he? Is it?
Might be wrong.
I think he's 37, maybe.
I mean, he's not young, is he? So I mean, and let's be honest, he has been there every day. He's 39. He has been there every day, other than the odd time when he's got injured. And even when he's been injured, he's been busting his ass and getting back way before scheduled.
Yeah.
So
and these the thing with him as well is that, sorry, Mike, these injuries are starting to come quick and fast now with Cena. These little niggles aren't little niggles anymore. These last couple of years, he's had these little injuries that he said he thought were little injuries, and then when it's come to it, have ended up being, injuries where it's taken months off his career. And he's also, you've got to think, he's also had the bit of the success with the TV show that he's been doing, which has got a second series, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's got a couple of months coming to take that show.
Yeah, and obviously the praise that he got for the hosting of whichever awards ceremony he hosted, I think he's very
Kids' Choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's very much ready to step out of that limelight. And like I say, I felt he was being very genuine when he was saying that he's ready for someone to do it. Whether AJ Styles is that person, I don't know, but it seems like he's ready for somebody else to take over that mantle.
Well, just to be clear from my point of view, I don't necessarily think AJ Styles is the guy to take his spot, but I think Cena's in a position where he should be putting someone like AJ Styles over. He's still got that presence and that sort of the word escapes him, but he's still got that gravitas, so someone beating him means something.
Absolutely.
AJ Styles definitely needs that.
I completely agree with that. He still carries that aura, doesn't he, around the, around with the crowd, with the backstage, with anybody who talks about Cena, the the glow, don't they, with like praise of how he is and how his attitude. And if anybody can afford to put somebody over, it's Cena. So I kind of go with that same opinion, to be fair.
And let's not get it muddled up. I mean, he is this generation's The Rock. And what did The Rock do? I mean, The Rock put over Brock Lesnar, who was up and coming and only been on the roster a few months. So I don't think it's out of the question that John Cena would do it, but I just don't think...
He's done it before, hasn't he, as well? Kevin Owens, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Del Rio, when he came back, he got beaten.
And made it look comfortable without being funny when he faced Brock Lesnar. You know, the way that he put it over of getting absolutely destroyed. You know, there's only Cena that could do that.
Yeah, and for it to actually be that much of a surprise. I don't know. It's a funny one, but I suppose that doesn't actually matter for what's going to happen in this match. That's more of a long-term view. Chelsea, who do you think is going to take the win this month rather? We're currently 1-1 in the John Cena AJ Styles series. I think a couple of months ago we suggested it would be 2-1 to AJ. Have you changed your mind?
I kind of half agree with you and half agree with Stephen Russ. Like, I'd like to say that John Cena is going to pick up the win and he is going to have that title shot to match Ric Flair before he inevitably takes some time off. But at the same time, I can see him putting over AJ Styles too with that 2-1 victory. But I think I'm going to go with AJ Styles winning and then John Cena coming back for that title maybe after his TV show's second series has been filmed, just to give him that little bit more time off before he comes back for maybe his final title run in a long time.
Russ, decision?
Yeah, I think it'll be Styles.
Steve?
Yeah, Chelsea summed it up perfectly there for me. I'll go with Styles as well.
Me too. I worry that John Cena's going to win it because I want AJ Styles to win because he hasn't had that win, but I want AJ Styles to win. So AJ Styles it is. Let's go. Someone mentioned Brock Lesnar, so let's go to Brock Lesnar, who is going up against Randy Orton. Returning Randy Orton, I suppose, even though he's had one match against Heath Slater. Heath Slater has pretty much been the linchpin of this this Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton series. Poor Heath. But yeah, Brock Lesnar versus Orton. I mean, build up again for reasons. The whole 15 years in the making business that's being spouted is really annoying me because this has never been in the making. Has anyone thought that, like, when watching these things, it's like this was never ordained, you know? There was never that they went up against each other or they had a rivalry but just didn't fight because they were on separate shows. It was just never a thing.
It's not even one of those matches that you would have thought that you'd like to see, or for me anyway. Like, if you'd have asked me someone who I'd like to see fight Brock Lesnar, I'd never have said Randy Orton.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I remember for the longest time, I know we've had it on a multiple times. I remember when Randy Orton versus John Cena was the match in the making, and we never had that for such a long time. I remember that being a match. You know, I think it was 5 years in the making before they had like a proper series or something. But yeah, this seems a bit forced again. Brock Lesnar needs to have a match at SummerSlam. Randy Orton needs to return. Who's got the most to lose, Chelsea?
To me, like it seems inevitable that Brock Lesnar's gonna take the win, but someone someday is gonna have to beat him, and I have no idea who that could be. Part of me wants to say it might even end in like a disqualification or a no contest or something, but I really can't say anything other than Brock Lesnar's going to win because I just can't fathom even like Randy Orton beating him. Like one RKO, no matter how brilliant that move is, it's not going to take down Brock Lesnar.
Another thing that's pissing me off. Stop saying it takes one RKO to take it at Viperville. Viperville is not a thing, you know?
The only thing I will say is they better come up with something insane from like an F5 and an RKO or something.
Charles.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to beat the curb stomp RKO.
I'm not going to say no, nothing is ever going to beat that.
We're just going to have to accept it.
But I can see an F5 being countered into an RKO, and that would be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool.
And if anything's going to end the match, that would be it. But I literally cannot think of Brock Lesnar losing to Randy Orton. It just doesn't compute.
Now, this is a singles match. We are going to have to see Brock Lesnar wrestle, and it doesn't involve a chair, and it doesn't involve, going outside and bashing people into a cage. Russ, how do you expect this one to go down? I mean, is this going to just be Brock Lesnar staying in the ring, doing the German suplexes, that old shtick? Or are we going to see something a bit different here? Because Dean Ambrose on the Steve Austin podcast pretty much called him out, didn't he? And said on SmackDown, not SmackDown, sorry, his the WrestleMania match, that he just didn't want anything to do with it. So, given the fact he's being called out by and taken the piss out of by people on in the wrestling side of things, I mean, Daniel Bryan called him lazy on talking smack, and Dean Ambrose, talked smack about him on the podcast as well. Given the fact as well that the last time we saw Brock Lesnar, he was winning in a UFC cage due to drugs, possibly. Has he got something to prove? Is it going to be a bit different?
To play devil's advocate with Chelsea's point slightly, they've kind of booked themselves into a corner. I agree with that, because when you build someone up like Brock Lesnar, it makes it ridiculously hard to ever book him to lose. My only sort of argument with that in my own mind is, why bring Randy Orton back and put him in this match if you're not going to give him a reason to be in it, and that reason would be to win it and build towards maybe a title run or title challenge in SmackDown. There's no point bringing a guy back after 9 months out and putting him up against someone who is invincible and having him lose, because then all the momentum he's gained on his return has just gone up in smoke. It doesn't make much sense to me. I've got a sneaky suspicion Orton might come out of this with a win, and that might be a bit of a mental thing to predict, but why bring a guy back after 9 months, put him in the ring with Brock Lesnar to get crushed? It just doesn't make any sense.
No, I definitely agree with that as well. Like, I think maybe, especially with Brock Lesnar and all this drug issues, and like Michael said, with people bashing on Brock Lesnar, it's just like he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's probably literally only there for the money, but it's got to get to a stage with Vince and people that they can see that he doesn't want to be there. He's not going to put in the effort. So yeah, Randy Orton could win. I just, like you say, they've just put themselves into a corner with Brock Lesnar. Like, no, I can't think of anybody that could beat him. But if Randy Orton wins, then so be it.
I can imagine if someone's gone to Brock Lesnar backstage and went, put Randy Orton over, you can go and have 6 months on your farm, chill out, do bugger all, he'll probably take it.
Oh yeah, definitely. They'd offer him enough money and he'd do anything.
No, he's there to turn up, do his job and go. That's what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see. He's not going to be around again until WrestleMania season, really, is he? So.
Yeah, I don't know what his contract is, but I imagine we don't see him again until then. You keep saying someone who can beat Brock Lesnar. I mean, this is just pie in the sky stuff. Last time we saw it, it was kind of shite. But the last time somebody, a legend who had been away from wrestling, graced the cover of a 2K game, they made a return into the ring, and Goldberg's on the cover of the game this time. Is that a possibility, Steve? What do you think? Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar 2.
Great the first time. Sorry.
They always a good match, don't they?
They certainly do. That was shite.
I don't think they're capable of putting that match together between them.
Yeah. What happens when you get two people in the ring who just don't give a fuck?
The finger poke of death. That's exactly what would happen.
I'd rather watch two Magic App fight.
Yeah, I have very little interest in this fight at all. Like I'm completely on the same page as you. I have no the the reasons for them fighting don't make sense. I've
Can I
never.
ask you a question? So it's just
Yeah,
totally.
question.
Does anybody care about Randy Orton?
I like his entrance music.
Music aside, Chelsea, we can't base everything on music alone. I just don't give a shit about it. Like,
No.
like he was so hot when he came. You know, when he came down, he was young, he was fresh, and he was different, and I loved his Legend Killer stuff. But now I really don't care about it. I don't know what any of you guys think, but
I have no interest in him as a fit as a face. I think that's your, I think that's the first problem with Randy Orton as he is now. Um, he doesn't suit the face persona. I think we said this sort of a few shows ago. There's certain wrestlers that are one way. You know, a lot can go one way and the other, but there's some that are just suited to be in that one way. And he is just a heel, and he should always play the heel. And um, I the way that they've had him when since he's come back. You know, they clearly want him to be one of the faces of SmackDown, and rightly so, I suppose. You know, he's one of the he's one of the the existing bigger names, and should be one of their they want to make him um, one of their marquee wrestlers. But I really can't get behind the match and the story that they're putting together with Brock, and then him being the face as well. Um,
I was just gonna say you don't care, you just don't care about him at the moment. I suppose this is a good time for them in this match to try and make us care about him, or even be interested in him in any kind of way. But for me, I'm not even getting that draw. You know, I'm not. Well, I don't know what he could do in this match with Brock Lesnar, which would make me be a fan of
I
Randy
know,
Orton.
I know. Punt to the head.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Now you mention it.
It was a couple of weeks ago where I cannot remember who it was against. But I'm presuming I think he's only fought once, hasn't he, since he came back? So it must have been his his debut, well, not his debut, his new match back into
With the
SmackDown.
Miz.
Yeah, where he was on the floor and he'd gone into the corner, and I really thought he was going to punt him straight in the head, and I was desperate to see it. I think that's the only way you'll get on Orton's side this weekend. But we could potentially see that because it seems like if he is going to win, it's going to need something more than just regardless of what he says, it's going to need more than one RKO.
Oh, that'd be awesome. If we get a punt to the head. How sick am I? Like, oh, that'd be fantastic. Right, let's just go. Steve, who's taking the win?
I can't see past Brock Lesnar, to be honest.
Russ?
Orton.
Chels?
Lesnar.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Brock Orton, so... yeah, I think Lesnar's going to win. I mean, I just can't see him ever losing. That's the problem. It's stupid. Like, legitimately. Like, who is buying pay-per-views or even signing up for the network just that 1 month that Lesnar's back? Who's doing it? Who's this draw?
They must have the numbers somewhere that that proves that he makes them money, because otherwise they wouldn't keep using him.
I was just going to say, I mean, is it just media metrics that they're saying, and they're just saying that they're getting more hits, more articles?
I think they're pulling a couple of different audiences, maybe, because maybe you get some UFC interest for it, and it pulls in a bit of that crowd, and that's Vince. He probably sees UFC as his biggest competition these days.
Well, I think they're totally in cahoots these days. I don't know about you guys, but this whole
But that ain't going to stop Vince wanting to pull some of their audience across, is it?
what's his name? Oh, this whole Conor McGregor thing. I mean, it just all seems manufactured at this point. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, 100% believe that Conor McGregor believes he would kick everybody's ass in the WWE, but man, it just seems so unnecessary to be even being asked. These two audiences just are not competing audiences, and so I find it all really strange. But there you go. Let's move on from Lesnar and Orton and move to somebody who's not so favoured, with Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Now, I say not so favoured because sometimes Roman Reigns is getting a huge reaction because he was going against someone who is not American, and then sometimes, like this week, he gets a totally mixed reaction, which is mostly cheers, but then you can still hear some cheers. I think Roman Reigns is in a really strange position. Let's just talk about that for a sec. I mean, what are they doing with Roman Reigns going forward? Like, is he face? Is he heel? Do they just turn him up to 11 on the whole I'm just a badass kind of thing? Or do they turn him back down and put him to the child-friendly kind of wrestler? I don't know what they're doing with him. Russ, what do you think is the best course of action to take with Roman Reigns?
Just turn him heel and have him kick the shit out of people. I mean, you can't have a family-friendly 6'6" guy that power slams people through tables for a living. It just don't quite work. I've said this quite a lot, but Roman Reigns needs a couple of things. He needs a defined character, as in, whichever way you're going with it, stick with it. Don't have it ambiguous. He needs new entrance music and new ring gear, because it's just like, get over the Shield. They're gone. They're done. And you still dress like you're in the Shield, and it's like, it's crazy at this point.
Yeah, not for nothing, but Roman Reigns is the only one who's still got it. He doesn't have a belt. Ambrose and Rollins have totally forgotten that part of them now. They've completely changed their characters from there. They're both in the title matches. Yeah.
I'm quite conflicted with Roman Reigns because I think he's capable of performing really well and having good matches. I mean, I said earlier, the matches he had with AJ Styles in that series, they were actually pretty entertaining. The problem I've got with Roman Reigns is he's not been helped out, and it sounds weird to say that they haven't helped him out from above, like the management, but I mean, they've pushed him to the moon and back, but they haven't actually given him any character development to go along with it, and I think that's why he got rejected so hard. And he needs help with his mic work, and he also needs help with his character, because while he's in the same character he's in now, it's just never going to get any better for him. They need to figure out where they're putting him and then give him the right tools to make a success of it.
Yeah,
they're not doing that at the minute.
We said this last week, and you weren't here, so I mean we didn't get your opinion on it. But when he came in and did his humour with Lana and Rusev in the ring, and Lana got the cake all over her. I mean, his humour and his mic work then was sublime. So I still don't really know where that character was aiming for, other than just being funny.
But at the same time, he's standing there, and it was a pretty entertaining promo, and I enjoyed it as well. Not just because we got to see Lana covered all in cake and that, but it was pretty entertaining. But at the same time, he's still there in his Shield gear, and he's still coming in and out to the Shield music. So it still doesn't add up, if that makes sense. They need to figure out what to do and stick with it and develop it, instead of just saying, "This is the guy that you like so much from the Shield. Look, isn't he great?" It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, you make all the points. I genuinely just don't know what to do. Does anybody else have any other ideas of what they're going to do with Roman Reigns after this match?
I think the best thing that could happen for his character-wise, like when he is doing this whole arrogant persona thing, like you said, it worked really well. Like last week, I really enjoyed that segment. It's probably the most I've enjoyed him on the mic. And this whole thing with Rusev is pretty good. I can honestly say that he might win the belt on Sunday, and then that would guarantee that the feud with Rusev continues at least till the next pay-per-view. But yeah, I think, like you said, his reaction when he is just going all out America and against Rusev, who's Bulgarian. I think it's honestly the best place for him. So I think to give him that belt and continue the feud with Rusev is probably the best thing they can do.
Steve, have you got any thoughts on what they should do with Roman Reigns now? Not for nothing. I mean, is he still in the doghouse? from his being at the top and then taking those whatever drugs he took? Is he still in the doghouse?
No, I don't think so. I think that I think that there needed somewhere for him to be once, I think, and rightly so. Whilst he was out, the creative team went in a different direction, and obviously the draft happened. With where they've gone with that, I think they needed something for Roman Reigns in the meantime, and this has been the perfect thing for him. I think they like the mixed reaction that he gets. I think they're happy. I think the WWE are happy with what he's causing at the moment with regards to sort of fans' opinions and.
In their heads, they probably just think we've got the next John Cena.
It's exactly. There is no doubt about it. Though I think that's exactly what they're thinking.
Well, I guess to show with like Eva Marie as well. I think they go with the whole any reaction's a good reaction, and when you get a reaction that's that loud, like obviously people care one way or another. And it's exactly the same with Eva Marie. Like her reaction, she gets booed to shit, but it's better than the crowd being silent,
Very true. Which we get and will get during the six-man women's match. So,
we won't get.
No, we won't get a reaction at all. We'll get total silence. So let's call it then. I'm going to go first. I think Rusev is going to retain this one. I think Roman Reigns might still be in the doghouse, honestly, because he was their guy and he was doing all the TVs and all the interviews and stuff, and he kind of just left them in the lurch. So I think Rusev's going to take it. Charles? Oh, who's sending pictures? That kind of laughing over means one thing.
Oh, it's just Ross.
Of course it is. Mine's not even loaded. I can't even see it.
Sorry. I'm going to go Roman Reigns.
Russ?
I think you're right. It'll be Mike. Sorry, I think you're right. It'll be Rusev. Maybe develop this one a little bit more because it seems to be suiting Roman Reigns at the moment. So I don't know. Maybe stretch it out. Is a run with the US title really what Roman Reigns needs right now? I mean, it's a belt, but it's kind of a demotion if you like, considering where he was on the card before. I think Rusev could do with it more than him. So I'll keep it with Rusev.
It might not be a belt that he wants. But it's better than no belt at all. It'll just be the belt that he's giving,
It's not a good belt, it's not a bad belt.
Exactly.
But I also think that if Roman Reigns, maybe this is his last sort of punishment task before they bump him back up to closer to where he was before. So put Rusev over and then we'll build you back up into the main event picture again. And it's harder to do that when you've got the US belt because you've then got to defend that against the kind of people that are going for that belt instead of advancing back up to his former position. So I think they'll avoid booking themselves into that particular hole by keeping it with Rusev.
Steve, we've got 2-1 for Rusev.
Yeah, I am on the Rusev train with this. I don't think they want to keep Roman Reigns down at the sort of the US title level. I think they'll want to get him back up there as quickly as possible. And if this is, if there is a little bit of the doghouse about where he is at the moment, I think this will be the end of it. And also, like what you guys have both just said, I think the US title for some reason really suits Rusev. Like I don't know whether it's the fact it's the US title and he's a foreign, and he's obviously he's heel anyway and he can play on it more once. There's nothing going to heat up an audience more than a heel foreigner having the US title, is there? It's easy it's easy pickings for them, and I think he carries that really well, and I think they'll want to keep with that because I think that's probably the best place for Rusev. He's not at that level of challenging for the world title, the Universal title, sorry. But he definitely is worthy of holding that belt and being the heel, the bad guy that's got the US title.
How do you think this for a storyline? Like he goes so anti-American that he says Americans is just shit. The American title's shit. I'm bringing back the European title. How cool would that be? That'd be awesome. Bulgaria's in Europe, right? Pretty sure it is. So that's 3-1 Rusev. I'm a bit surprised by that. I thought I might have been more on my own on the Rusev train there. But Chelsea, surprisingly,
Yep.
you're the only one back in Roman Reigns. But I don't see you being the only one back in on this one. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. With Dana Brooke banned from ringside. I'll let you take this, Chelsea. The first defense by Sasha Banks. Is it? The first defense by Sasha? Yeah, the first defense by Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. In a singles match. No Dana Brooke, no Ric Flair. How's it going? How's it going to go down?
Other than Ric Flair coming out dressed as Dana Brooke.
Yeah, other than just as Dana Brooke. Right now, Russ, who did not listen to the show last week, is totally like, what the fuck?
I definitely think that Sasha's going to pick up the win on this one. It would be ridiculous for her to get it and lose it in such a short space of time. And I think since we started this podcast, we've always said that Sasha Banks is walking out of SummerSlam with the title. We always thought that she was going to win it at SummerSlam, but it would just be nice to have her walk out with it, especially with Charlotte on her own again. I know we discussed it last week when it makes Charlotte look pretty weak when she only wins when she's got someone next to her. But I just think it would be stupid to have Sasha win it and lose it within the space of like 3 weeks. I mean, she thoroughly deserves it. She's one of the best, if not the best, women's wrestler that they have at the moment, and she definitely needs a good title run. So, yeah, Sasha, 100%.
Stephen.
Yeah, I think I've got to echo those thoughts. To be fair, I do slightly disagree with what they're doing with Charlotte in that, because they are making her look really weak at the moment. But they've put themselves into that position with the way that they've booked previously. They kept her with Rick for far too long, and then dropped her in with somebody else immediately. It's kind of their own doing that they're in that position. But at the same time, they can't, after giving Sasha the belt, get her to drop it after 3 weeks. I think that would be an absolute travesty as well. So I'm going to go with the Sasha win, but I really don't know how they're going to do it without making Charlotte look really weak at this stage.
I think, like, other than Charlotte losing, and everything that she does in the ring doesn't make her look weak, though. Like, when she has a match, like some of the shit that she pulls, like her moonsault from the top rope it still blows me away now. So I think it is literally just whether she wins or loses that affects it. But if you to actually sit and watch the match, I don't think that it makes Charlotte look weak. All it is just picking up the win.
No, I completely agree. I don't think there's any part of her performance that says that she's the lesser wrestler or anything like that.
She just doesn't pick up the win when she's not.
It's just she doesn't win without help, and that's, I think, not a long term. The odd when she started with Rick and she was winning those couple of, they had it perfect to start with, where she was winning and she didn't realise that Ric Flair was that was pulling the win for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was winning. She was winning dirty, but she didn't know. But she kind of didn't know at the time. And obviously, then they turned her fully, which was absolutely fine. But then they continued to have her only win with the interference. And like you say, that everything she does in the ring does not make her look weak. From the the moonsaults, the submission moves.
I think the biggest mistake they made with the whole Ric Flair thing was the WrestleMania match. I think if she'd have won that clean, then it would have been slightly different, because that match was brilliant. Like, she did not need Ric Flair to be there at all, and I think that was where it started going downhill, really.
Yeah, and then to put her in with somebody else immediately after, we had the for God knows how many weeks we were saying get rid of Flair, that he wasn't needed. But none of us were then expecting her to go in with somebody else at that stage.
Yeah, but that was a weird one, wasn't it, though? Because that was never the plan, obviously.
Exactly, it clearly wasn't. Yeah, it clearly wasn't, and it's a funny one to give Charlotte, to give Dana to Charlotte to carry that torch. With the fact that they've made Natalya heel, for example, that would have been a better way to go with Dana, to go that way and work a heel partnership with her, maybe.
Eva Marie? Put her with Eva?
Any of them, to be fair, because like I say, she's now coming with thing, and they're kind of trying to separate her from Charlotte now out of the last couple of weeks. I can't see how they're gonna get, how they're gonna make it not look like Charlotte's really, really weak at the moment because of how they've booked her the last couple of months.
So we're going to get Sasha win then. That's 2 for Sasha. Russ?
Yeah.
Nothing else to add, really. Summed it up perfectly. It's got to be Sasha.
Yeah. It's a shame that this one is one of the most predictable ones of the card. Did any of you watch the Women's Evolution 24 on the network?
Yeah.
On there, they said basically that the next step that they really want to do is, obviously we had Lita versus Trish Stratus main event in a Raw when they won the title. And they want now to one day be the women main eventing a pay-per-view. I could definitely see Sasha Banks versus Charlotte being one of those kind of pay-per-view headlining caliber matches.
Yeah, or even just long-term booking the shit out of it. Just when Bayley comes up. Yeah. I think if from the match they put, the 2 matches that they put on, like Brooklyn and the Iron Woman match after, I think it's safe that people would be 100% invested in that match, and they do put on a match that would be worthy of that. And I think it might be completely biased off me, but Bayley versus Sasha, after last year's main event this year's main event from WrestleMania, like, put them 2 in the main event and you would have more of a crowd investment than you did for Roman Reigns and Triple H.
And that's not even just a fan thought. If you look at those matches and even the aftermath of the matches, Triple H is obviously behind them 1,000%, but also Stephanie McMahon's behind them as well.
Yeah.
I guess we need to work on Vince, maybe, if he still thinks that NXT is a bunch of people who won't draw any money. But
I think Vince just doesn't want the women outshining the men.
Yeah, I think realistically, is a women pay-per-view headlining ever going to happen?
I definitely think it could. I don't think it's ever going to be WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, anything like that. But just a random one. Maybe even something like Fastlane. Like, have them headline that. It's a waste of time pay-per-view anyway, but...
that's a diss to the women, really.
Yeah, I think we could. I don't think they might not get the main event outright, but I can definitely see a joint. The way that the UFC do a joint main event. I can see, Sasha and Bayley, or Sasha, Bayley and Charlotte as a joint main event at one of the bigger pay-per-views.
Oh yeah, main event could definitely happen.
Yeah,
but
And I don't think I think that's no disrespect to the women. I don't think for it to just be that at this moment moment in time.
It's definitely the first step they're going to take, isn't it? Rather than giving them an outright.
I would rather them join main event, one of the big ones, than be done in Battleground
Yeah.
or whatever it is, like you've just said. You know, where no one particularly gives a rat's ass about it anyway.
Yeah, that was just
I
how I
suppose
could see them doing it.
I suppose it's really quite possible now with the separate show pay-per-views. It could happen more likely there. I would have said it's more likely on a SmackDown show for some reason, but with the talent that you have, I don't think anybody really care if a SmackDown Women's were headlining.
Unless Bayley, for some unknown reason, even though she debuted on Raw, ends up on SmackDown.
She didn't debut on Raw. She debuted.
She was just
at
at
Battleground.
Battleground,
yeah.
wasn't she?
Yeah, that's true. While
Anyway,
we're talking about Bayley, are we gonna get Bayley being called up on Monday, like full time ish with her all NXT matches this weekend?
I don't think so. I can't remember. Was it? It might have been Ollie that said it last week, and I think I might have kind of in my own head disagreed at the time. But upon watching, NXT the last few weeks, that women's division isn't ready to lose Bayley yet, and I think that they very much see her being in that. Like, I can't see them wanting to call her up. Like, I don't believe that nobody thinks she's ready. Like, I'm sure I can imagine the conversation she's having at the moment with, she's got Triple H saying to her, look, we all believe in you. We all think you should be on that main roster, but we need you here to carry. You're the flagship here. We need you.
Solid.
We need you to be here for the time being. Your time will come. There's no question about it. But for now, we need you to do this. And she's a fangirl, isn't she? At the end of the day, whenever you listen to it, it's all about. I can imagine that Triple H could ask her to do anything wrestling related, and she would just do it for the fact that it's Triple H asking her. And that.
Yes, Mr. Helmsley.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think she's put herself in an almost impossible position that they can't call her up because of what she's done at the NXT level. So I don't know, as much as I would love to see her up there, because she does deserve it, and I think she'd be fantastic. I think for the time being, I think she's going to be down at NXT for a little while longer, I think.
Yeah, I can 100% see her becoming two-time women's champ on Saturday.
Whilst I agree with that, I also in my head have been thinking all along that if there is somebody else who Charlotte can bring out and try interfere, I think Bayley being there in Brooklyn and having Sasha's back could come and make the save. That's definitely a possibility. I don't see it being outside of the realms.
Yeah.
No, I'd agree with that as well.
Who's to go? Russ, have you said?
Yeah, Sasha all day.
Sasha? We've all got Sasha. Right, let's move on to the two main titles for both shows. We'll stick with... let's go to SmackDown. Let's go to SmackDown with the WWE World Championship. We've got Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler, which I think is a breath of fresh air that I don't think any of us would have guessed a couple of months ago that would be your World Heavyweight title match. Let's just go down with it. I mean, this is actually being one of the ones that's had some build-up, that's had some good chemistry in the ring, that's had some good, even on the mic work as well this week, especially from Dolph Ziggler. Ross, have you been impressed with Dolph's work? I mean, we always knew that Ambrose is on top form on the mic and stuff at the minute, but this week's specifically from Dolph, I thought was top notch. Did you manage to see it?
Yeah, he's kind of pulling old school promos at the minute. Like, I'm going to get in the ring and I'm going to scream until I'm red in the face and I burst a vein because I'm just really up for this. Like old school promo sets. He's not trying to be funny. He's not trying to be smart. He's just coming out and wanting to portray himself like it. It means everything to him, and he wants this shot more than anything ever. But that's also one of my biggest criticisms of Dolph Ziggler, as in he just oversells everything. I might be on my own with that one, but he comes off sometimes that he's trying too hard to make it look like he gives a shit.
It's like he's trying to show off.
Like it's almost like it's part of his name, isn't it? But to answer your question, yeah, I have enjoyed his promos. This has been a better Dolph Ziggler in the last couple of weeks than we'd seen in the last 6 to 12 months. I think we can all agree on that, and it is good to see him get a shot because he's good enough, and he always has been. And he seems to be taking a few leaves out of HBK's book with all his super kicks and the way his ring gear's looking and things like that. And he's looking pretty entertaining. But my only thing is dial it back a bit. Instead of going to 11, he's gone to about 15 sometimes.
You just can't win with you, Russ. 1, you're shit. 15, you're shit.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're right. He can be a bit much, and he doesn't necessarily have to get to that screeching level, which he did do, I suppose. But see, I know that you have been particularly impressed with Ziggler.
Yeah, I think it's the whole, the whole, like you just said, the breath of fresh air of it being something a little bit different, and I think it has been really good to see. And I was when I watched when the first match came, the number one contender came up and he got it, I was very sceptical of it. But he's definitely proved me wrong in that, I want to see. I have no. For me, there's no question about who's going to win on Sunday. But Ziggler has definitely made it a match that I now want to see, or I'm interested in seeing, which I didn't 3 weeks ago when he won the number one contendership. So from that point of view, you've got to say that he's done exactly what he was supposed to do with this story. And I thought how he was on Tuesday in the ring was particularly good, and just shows how much he has been wasted. I'm not saying he should have been at the world title scene, but even for where he's been, I think he has been wasted. You can see that he's got he has the talent in the ring and on the mic. I think I do agree with Russ as well that sometimes he needs to just chill it out a little bit, but overall I've been massively impressed with how it's gone, because I really wasn't interested when I texted you, didn't I, and said I can't really believe that this is
he was
picked.
Yeah, he was very disappointed when he initially won.
I was,
and then the week after, you was so hoping Bray Wyatt would beat him.
Yeah, but no, he deserves the chance, and that he has done his part in this story. He's sold the story completely to the point where I'm interested in seeing how it's going to turn out, even though deep down I'm 99.99% certain who's going to actually win the match.
Yeah. The thing that with Dolph Ziggler is that he really is that good. He really is good in the ring, and he pulls everything off, and he works so hard. I've never really understood why they haven't used him as much. Chelsea, have you been a fan of Ziggler in the past, or have you just been more, 50-50 on him, or just lukewarm towards him?
No, I've definitely always liked Ziggler. I've definitely always appreciated what he can do in the ring and what he can do on the mic, and I just 100% agree with Steve. Like, he's done his job properly, and having him in that title scene is just a breath of fresh air for him, because I mean, how many weeks did we see him fighting the same person over and over again? And this is.
We just got to the stage, didn't we? Where how many segments did he have backstage where he was just mocking himself for losing again and putting you? Do you know what I mean? And there's so many people. You've got to think, it hasn't been, it's not at the world title level, but how many people has he put over?
Yeah.
At that mid card level over the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, more recently, Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
And where's
But no.
Corbin now? Lose to
But,
Corbin, get put in the world title scene.
But no, but like Steve said, there's no doubt in my mind who's going to win. But yeah, he's done his job wonderfully. Maybe even just like that transition period over the draft and until we do get AJ Styles or whoever it may be that goes up against Ambrose next. But it's just been really nice for him to show what he can do and had the chance to do it. But there's no doubt in my mind that Ambrose is going to win.
Yeah, I really just hope this doesn't, because we all think that Ambrose is going to win, right? No one thinks Dolph's going to win, sadly. But I really hope after this it doesn't mean that's the end for Ziggler, because it'd be sad for him to go back to exactly the place we've just said we're glad he's got out of.
Yeah. But,
which, let's be honest, is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I just hope that they just book him better than he has been for the past couple of years. Like give him a decent feud or just something that's not the perfect word to describe Dolph Ziggler really is like repetitive, and that's not down to him. That's just down to the way he's been booked. But even if he is put back down into the mid card, I don't know, just give him more of an opportunity to, excuse the pun, but show off.
I think that's a perfect place to end the World Heavyweight Championship discussion. Everyone's on Ambrose?
Yeah.
Right. Let's move to the main event and the potential, as I said to Stephen this week, the 10-star out of 5-star match that could possibly be the best of the year. I've built it up so much in my head, I genuinely can't think it can live up to it. But Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Now, we need to discuss what happened this week. Seth Rollins on Raw goes searching for the Demon King, can't find him anywhere. Mick Foley says, "Hey, why don't you try looking in the ring for him?" And he's like, "All right then, if I must." And there he was. The Demon King came out on Raw, paint and all, in the classic red and black demon that we've seen originally, but this time with the added Demon King scroll all over his side, looking a bit like Jared Leto's Joker. I was going to say, Chelsea, how does that? You didn't like his not Chainsaw Charlie. You didn't like his Texas Chainsaw Massacre attire with the blue.
Yeah, I didn't like the blue.
What do you think of this one? Where does this rank?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was maybe even my favourite.
Now, you didn't want him to come out as the Demon King on Raw. You just didn't want it at all. So, it happened.
It did.
He came out. He didn't speak. He just came out and attacked. You didn't want it to happen. It did happen. What was your thoughts on the segment?
But yeah, I'll just go back to the fact that hold on.
As Chelsea gets rid of Baron Corbin.
He's just said his goodbye. He's gone now.
World title shot coming up next.
But yeah, I'll just go back to I think I said to you and Steve, like, I did not want this to happen at all. But then it happened and I loved it. The whole thing. His promo the week before that he did, him coming out, just his look, the whole writing and everything, it was absolutely brilliant. The only worry I have no doubt that, like you say, this is going to be a 10-star out of 5 match. This match is literally one of my dream matches. Like, I love the pair of them, and maybe like you, I probably built it up far too much in my head. But the only thing I'm worried about is they brought the Demon King out on Raw. If he loses at SummerSlam, it's going to be a travesty, and they will have thrown it all away. Like, if he's going to be booked to lose at SummerSlam, don't bring the Demon into it at all. So
he's not losing. He's not losing at SummerSlam.
No, I really, it would literally be the stupidest thing they've ever done if he does lose. But that's the only thing I'm worried about. But I have literally loved every single second of it, and I take back what I said about him not being on Raw unless he loses. But if he wins, it's brilliant.
Russ, I generally can't remember your thoughts on Finn Balor. I don't know if you're as big on him as Chelsea is, but being up on Raw, being in the scene that he is, being coming out as the Demon, have you enjoyed Finn Balor's introduction to the main stage? Or I generally don't know your opinion on Finn Balor. I don't know if you're lukewarm on him or if you just think he's all right. Have you enjoyed Balor being in the main scene? I guess is my question.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I was a big fan of Finn Balor in NXT, and I agree with a lot of the points Chelsea just raised. His introduction was amazing when he, winning the Battle Royal, not the Battle Royal, the four-way match, and then beating Roman Reigns. It's a massive push out the gate for someone who's fresh up from NXT, and I agree, especially with the point Chelsea made about the Demon Balor. I mean, in NXT it was reserved for takeovers only, really, and to bring him out on Raw is a risk because, as Chelsea says, if he then goes on to lose at SummerSlam, it's kind of, it ruins the whole mystique of, Demon Finn's, some kind of different animal to regular Finn. You're kind of playing that card early and making a complete arsehole of it. But to answer your question, yeah, I've really enjoyed Finn being up. I hope they haven't gone too early with the Demon stuff and they waste it. Not that it would be a waste, because I still think, regardless of the result, these two guys are going to have a really good match. Like you said, Mike, it's one of those matches where you think about it and you book it in your own mind and you book it as match of the year. But they've got a job on to actually live up to that now, I think. And the pressure's on Finn as well. First real pay-per-view performance is going to be in a title match against the top guy in the company. So he's got to prove that he belongs in that spot and he's got to perform, and I think he will. I'm really looking forward to it. My only gripe with the match is that the Universal Championship is a fucking stupid name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no argument here, my friend.
I think
the worst name ever.
I need to see the belt, I think, at this point. If it is just the same as the other one and it's blue or red or purple or whatever it is, it's going to be a complete letdown. If they bring out something that's completely different, I might change my mind a little bit and disregard the name. But that's probably the only thing I'm worried about as well, is just what the belt looks like.
I'm going to be so disappointed if it is just a copy. And I know that's the most likely thing to happen right now. It's going to be so disappointing.
I think with the fact that it's the Universal Championship, like it's not the heavyweight or anything like that. It needs to be different to, I don't know, maybe to even make people care. Because if you have two belts that look exactly the same, like, I don't know.
Do you think that the thing that speaks volumes to me more than anything is the fact that even people in the company are taking the piss out of it?
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon are constantly taking the piss out of the fact that it's called the Universal title. And if you check on Shane McMahon's Twitter, they did a mock-up of the Universal title, and they've basically got a tinfoil horseshoe shape and got a belt on it. It's like, I mean, if they're even taking the piss out of it, I mean, come on. If you're not going to listen to me, why would you listen to me? But listen to Shane and Daniel Bryan, Jesus. Steve, why was Finn Balor not closing Raw?
I've no idea. That was my only gripe from Monday was that wasn't finishing the show. Like, for me, that should have been the final thing we saw before SummerSlam was Balor in the ring.
Can I just point out that I actually stopped watching at that point?
No, that's a shame. It's a shame because Roman Reigns and Rusev fighting for Lana's. How did they put it? Fighting for her
honor.
Yeah.
They put on an actual really good match.
They did put on a good match, and it was highly entertaining. But I found, just to go slightly off, I found this week, I said to you and Chelsea that this week's Raw was just, for me, all over the place in how it was put. Like, it was going here and going there, and Seth was cutting a promo, and it cuts to Nia Jax's video, and he hadn't even finished speaking, and it was just wild, and it didn't feel like it was properly put together. I don't know why they decided to have it so early on, or halfway. We were about halfway through, wasn't it? It certainly should have been ending the show. And in terms of like they always say, don't they, that they lose that last hour's the struggle for them in terms of the audience. They would have had everybody staying in touch to see whether he was going to come out as the Demon King right up until the end of the show. I mean, I was talking to you, Mike, on Messenger as we were watching the show on Monday Night Live, and well, as soon as Finn Balor had finished, I said to you, well, I've got to go to work in the morning, so I'm out of here, and closed off, which I wouldn't have done. So how many people in America did the same thing, and it was really, really strange, a really, really strange place to put it.
Yeah, I can't comprehend it either, because I mean, everything you just said was totally true, but as well as that, Paul Rusev and Reigns, you have to follow. If it was just a shit, he came out and it wasn't a very good segment and the crowd weren't into it. But they ate it up. They ate it all up, and it was truly amazing seeing him in Raw as the Demon, and they had to go after that. But yeah, strange one. Let's get to it then. Who is going to be the first ever WWE Universal Champion? Russ, who are you going with?
Seth Balor.
Seth Balor.
I don't know how this one's going to go down. Of all the ones that I know, some people seem quite confident Finn's going to win, but he might lose through some bullshit screwy way. I don't know, to keep him at least relatively strong. But I genuinely can't call this one. If I went with my gut, I'd say Finn. But this one could go either way for me.
For me, you can't. For me now, Chelsea said it, and I completely agree. I don't think at this now you've had him come out and you've built the Demon up like that. You cannot have him lose whatsoever. I don't even think there's a question of Finn not winning that title now. For me, it would have been better for him to be Finn Balor and go into this where everybody would be kind of still 50-50 on whether he was going to win. Probably wouldn't be the favourite. You would say that Seth was going to win it, and maybe somehow get Seth winning the title. And I don't know how they would have worked it, but then have Finn saying that he needs to channel he realises that he needs to channel that inner demon that he has before, and then hit the demon at the next pay-per-view. Because I just can't see how after that entrance and the way that they've built not only the entrance but the way that they've built up the Demon character, because on NXT the character was never built up like that. Like they've built that up to basically Undertaker standards.
Yeah.
Already in my head, like they've built that to be almost unstoppable. Like that's the way that they had, the way that Roman Reigns, the way that Seth was talking about it, and then the way that they had the promo of Finn talking about the Irish gods and the Irish who it was after and people and what Balor means and stuff, and the way that they did that. For him to lose now, the credibility of that Demon character would be completely out of the window.
It is 100% make or break, isn't it? Like you said, it could turn into a stupid gimmick if he loses, and cruiserweight style coming out on Raw dressed up as that every week, or it can literally be Undertaker standard.
They did brilliant with it this week. I think I was very much in the same boat as that. I didn't want to see him not at a pay-per-view. I just wanted to see him come out as that character, and was really worried. But I thought how they did it was fantastic. They didn't have him speaking. There was nothing like that. It was just come out and attack. Well, after being attack back. It was the whole whether they were going to start having him speaking in a different voice and making a whole new persona about it that I was worried about, and they didn't actually do that. And the way that they did it was fantastic. And as Michael said, regardless of whether you wanted it or not, when it was happening, it didn't matter because it was goose. It was like goose pimples, like when you were watching it, when you were coming out, and it was amazing. And I thought they did a brilliant job with it. The problem is that they've put it on that much. They've put this demon persona on that much of a pedestal. If he does lose, that character can't come back for me already, which is a real shame.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I think
So for me, I think it's Balor, and I don't think it's even close now.
Yeah, I think Balor's going to take this one for a lot of the reasons you said. It would have made perfect sense for Balor to have lost the first round and then qualified to be the number one contender.
Exactly. Yeah.
Second time as the demon. That would have totally made sense. But as it is, I think we're going to get Demon Balor as the champ at the end of it, and I truly can't wait to see his entrance. Like, it won't be any different this time. I mean, it's just going to be that same one.
Yeah.
It's not going to have any local mystique to it. It's not going to have a chainsaw or anything like that. But man, this match, I am so excited for it. So excited. Chelsea?
Yes.
Finn?
It cannot. Yeah, what Steve said. For me, it's Finn or nothing. Like, it's a complete make or break for him, and it has to be. It has to be Finn.
So 3 Finns and I don't know. I think that's pretty unanimous. Even though you've said you don't know that it is going to be Finn Balor, because in your heart you know it's going to be, right, Russ?
Like I said, follow my gut says Finn, but my head don't know.
Well, that's the end of the SummerSlam preview and predictions. It is also TakeOver Brooklyn this week. We're not going to go into every single match in detail. Let's just have who you think's going to win this one. No Way Jose versus Austin Aries.
Austin Aries.
Austin Aries, unfortunately.
When we saw No Way Jose down in Liverpool, that was a sight to behold. Stephen's joy. Oh, especially when Chelsea said, "Look, there's a No Way Jose t-shirt." The debut of somebody we saw dancing with No Way Jose, Bobby Roode versus Almaz. Who do you think is going to win that one?
Rude.
Bobby Roode, and it's going to be glorious.
It is going to be glorious. The Revival versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
Can I just say that other than Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, this is the match that I am second most looking forward to this weekend.
It's going to be belting. It's going to be fantastic.
I think the stock for Gargano and Ciampa after that CWC match has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
And the hashtag glorious bombs. Oh, man.
There's a couple more of them. I don't know if you've seen them, but I went to rewatch the video the other day. I must have clicked on another one, and there was at least like 2 or 3 more in there.
Well, I will certainly go see if there's any ones that I haven't seen because they're all hilarious. I
really hope that one where they played Bobby Roode's ringtone entrance music whilst he was asleep. I hope he was asleep. I hope that wasn't just at work, and that was genuine.
Yeah,
because it was fantastic.
The one when he wakes him up is the best. Anyway, Asuka versus Bayley rematch. Asuka is undefeated. Bayley's looking for the second title. Who's going to win this one?
I think I want to say Bayley just because I cannot think of anybody else that can beat Asuka. Like going through everybody that's in NXT, there is no one that she's undefeated, and none of the women down there have been pushed enough yet and realistically, none of them are that as good in the ring as Asuka and Bayley. Like, that standard is so high.
Well, we do have Ember Moon debuting this week.
She is, and her finisher is incredible.
Yeah, Chelsea.
But I think
Chelsea told me to check out Ember Moon's finisher that she's been using all the way through her indies. You're gonna if you don't watch it before this weekend, and you've never seen it before, I think you're gonna be impressed because she's gonna win. Obviously, Billie Kay's just been thrown to the wolves.
I thought Ember Moon was a man.
Right.
All those promos, I've been so excited, and then it was a woman, but no, and I was like, oh, it's a woman.
Michael said the other day, like, she looks like she's been pulled straight out of Mortal Kombat as well.
Oh, she
Like,
does.
Yeah, I can
Totally.
imagine, like, yeah, I can imagine now.
But yeah, as for I think I'm gonna go Bailey.
Steve?
I don't think I can call it, you know. I have no idea.
Choose one.
Bailey.
Russ?
Bailey.
Oh, and
Ooh.
finally, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke.
Well, you didn't answer.
You are?
You didn't answer.
No,
Bailey
don't
or
have
Asuka?
to. Don't have to.
No.
That's
What?
bullshit.
Don't have to.
Bailey versus Asuka, you've got to give us an answer.
Uh,
And it cannot be. Oh, they don't even have last names, so you can't even get out of it that way.
yeah, I can. Bayaska. No. I think
Asuka.
I think Bailey's gonna do it. I think Bailey's gonna do it. She's shown an attitude that she's never shown before
Yeah.
lately. And I think Bailey's gonna do it. She's gonna go to a demon place. Oh, she comes down in the chainsaw. Anyway, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Now this is one I can't call.
Oh, fucking just do it. You can't say Samoa
Nakamura
Nakamura.
and Joe to get called up.
Ooh, like it.
Ooh.
Like
I
it.
go with that.
To SmackDown where they need a heel.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
Russ, 20 points if you get that in an imaginary point thing that we don't do anymore.
Oh, he's bringing it back.
Really?
You did say before.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. He's busy. There's concrete to be laid. Right, that's it for the Out of Nowhere podcast, episode 46. You can get me at DjangoBob96. You can get Chels at Fight on Twitter. Russ, are you even on Twitter?
Yeah,
Where can they get you?
that was pointing. You should probably follow me, Mike. You obviously don't already.
Well,
He
you,
doesn't even follow you.
No, I don't tweet much.
I was going to say you don't tweet. And Stephen is hiding in the shadows.
No. You can get me at Russ Poynton too. Hit me up there.
How
I might actually get a tweet at some point now.
Stephen's been up Russ Poynton many times before, don't you worry about it.
One night in Liverpool.
Yeah, one night. You can get if you want to message Ollie, and by all means abuse him if you want, you can get him at Out of Nowhere Pod on Twitter, and you can email us at outofnowherepodcast@gmail.com. This has been the Out of Nowhere Podcast. See you later.